chilled.
Uh-huh. To episode 24? 25.
25. Hey guys, I'm Blake.
And I'm PJ.
And today we are going over episode 25. And it's the cultural value. We value level 5 good to great leadership.
What does that mean?
I was just about to say, if you don't know what that means,
Nobody
that's
else
fine,
did
because
either.
we don't either. Oh, just kidding.
See, this cultural value requires you to read a whole book
I know.
just to understand.
So the main reason that this cultural value was even part of the church was because this concept comes from like a business book, and so the pastor was like, oh, some business leader with lots of money is
Well, you're saying that he said that. They didn't say that. That's just what we think they wanted it for.
Yeah, that's how I think that that's what I think that they wanted.
Yeah, you said they said that.
Oh, I'm sorry, that's not what I
Just
meant.
fact checking you a little.
Thank you. Oh gosh, Facebook. But yes, so the subliminal thing that I think, looking back now, after assessing our time there, I feel like the head pastor was always like a business guy, and he wanted a business person to come in and see that cultural value on the wall and be like, oh wow, like they know what they're talking about, because they must have read that book, so they must read all these leadership books.
Yeah, because everything was subliminally strategic to make sure they secured fame and power, and if we're gonna save some souls and make sure we get into heaven at the same time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because you want to be able to lead a bunch of people in heaven too. You don't just want to be a measly peasant in heaven.
Oh my gosh.
Another track. So anyway, I thought I would start off with reading.
Real quick though.
Yeah.
Can I say about the thing?
Well, yeah. I don't know what you're going to say about it, but yeah.
Because you told me to talk about the thing.
Oh, that's that thing.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So we are going to get a Patreon account. Well, we have a Patreon account set up. I can hear my voice ringing in these pots. It's kind of annoying. But so obviously, like, we don't get paid to do this. So, and it costs money to do this. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna just have a Patreon account. So if you choose, you can sign up for whatever the monthly thing is to support us. And with that, we're gonna try to create some different incentives. Like, we're gonna have some recordings that we don't have on the actual, the standard page. Some like behind the scenes type of videos and stuff where we talk about how we're gonna do the episode. We don't bleep names. We don't avoid saying names about the people we're talking about. Mm-hmm. Just kind of more like laid back, like a little more like organic. Hopefully, I hope that this is pretty organic usually, even though it's sometimes it's not, but. Like just a kind of a some raw uncut footage, and possibly some other stuff like merch and things like that. Mm-hmm. So it'll probably be like $5 a month, I think.
I think that's the lowest, yeah.
Yeah, to sign up for that, because we need to, and we spend time doing this. And how much does this cost us to do? Like,
I don't even want to say.
Oh.
A lot.
Millions.
No, but a lot. So,
which is fine. I mean, this is fun
yeah.
for us. It's therapeutic for us. It's probably cheaper than therapy.
In the long run, it definitely is.
Yeah.
That's for sure.
So anyway, we'll post some more information about that probably on Instagram or something. Mm-hmm. About how you can find a link for that and support your homies.
And if you guys have any ideas of stuff you'd like to see, like exclusively on there, then let us know too. We're all ears.
But you have to be a Patreon to share opinions. Otherwise, we don't care about your opinion.
He's being sarcastic.
No.
Okay, so back to the app. So,
You were gonna say something and then I cut you off.
well, that's okay. That was important. Luckily I have notes here, so I remember what I was going to say. So, I think it's just before we talk about why this really didn't happen at the church that we went to and some examples of that, I feel like it's good to start off with what the definition actually is, like from Jim Collins' website. He's the guy who wrote the book.
Yeah.
So basically, this guy studied these really big companies, and some of them did really well, and some of them didn't. Some of them that didn't do well, I don't even think exist anymore.
Did he start them, or did he
No.
just try to help them?
No, he wasn't even trying to help. He was just studying them just for pure.
Oh, because you said he started these businesses.
Oh, I said he studied.
Oh, sorry.
So he was studying them, and he found out that the businesses that were like really successful had what he coined as level 5 leaders in charge of the business. And so here's the definition of a level 5 leader straight from his website. Okay, it says level 5 leadership is a concept developed in the book Good to Great. Level 5 leaders display a powerful mixture of personal humility and indomitable will. They're incredibly ambitious, but their ambition is first and foremost for the cause, for the organization and its purpose, not themselves. While level 5 leaders can come in many personality packages, they are often self-effacing, quiet, reserved, and even shy. Every good to great transition in our research began with a level 5 leader who motivated the enterprise more with inspired standards than inspiring personality.
Mm. That's good. Come on.
So, I mean, that's kind of obviously a mouthful, and I feel like that's one of the problems with that cultural value was that it really needed so much explanation.
Complete explanation. Who the hell who has never read that book understands what good level 5 good to great leadership means, except for just the words themselves.
Mm-hmm.
Level 5, that sounds great. Like 5 stars? Good to great? I would love to become a great leader.
Yeah. So I feel like that was one of the the main problems. But
one of the things while you're in that stuck out to me was stuck out.
it don't
Past
stuck
tense.
out.
Past tense of stuck.
Stuck.
Stuck out. Foremost for the cause. That's interesting. My first thought was like, oh, foremost for the cause. They didn't care about the cause. But actually, they didn't care about people because they actually were foremost for the cause.
Yeah.
Which is why this cultural value is, and this book is really great for a business.
Mm-hmm.
Not so much for a church.
Yeah.
Because the cause, so like in a business you have like profit, or I mean, I'm not like a business, expert, but like what's the cause? To, accomplish this mission, and you fire people that don't help you do that. In a church, the people are the cause, like,
Right.
and the people are screwed up. Typically in church, they're like, even more raw about how screwed up they are.
Mm-hmm.
And so to say, I don't know, so that just stuck out to me. Foremost for the cause. Their cause wasn't actually reaching people because they were okay with like expunging people that didn't fall in line with what
Mm-hmm.
the mission was, the true mission, which was making them famous, which was becoming a mega church, was like, we want to become millionaires because that's what Jesus has for us. That verse where he talks about like that stuff, like, I don't know. So that stuck out to me.
Can I say something about that too?
Yeah.
So I feel like the executive senior pastor was all about like saving people, leading people to Christ, and that was the foremost, like cause or whatever. And as a church, yes, you're supposed to be sharing the gospel, leading people to Christ. And so to her, though, it's like if you weren't doing that, or if she wasn't doing that like every single day, if she wasn't doing that every single day, it's like she would care so much about leading the person to Christ that she actually didn't even care about the person.
Yeah.
Or as soon as she was like, oh, okay, you're saved now?
No,
okay.
That's an oxymoron, though. Like, I feel like.
I know, but that's how it was.
Well, that's why we speculate about why she was so driven, and is so driven, to preach the gospel. To me, because you look at this crazy like passion to reach the lost. So she's constantly doing things to reach the lost because she loves people so much. But like in the same day will annihilate the whole team of people who aren't doing it good enough.
Yeah.
So how do you love people so much? So to me, it's not really her cause wasn't really to save people or lead them, to Christ. Or I mean, maybe somewhere in there's some concern for people not going to hell, but the evidence makes me think that it was just a competition. Who can do this the best? Because I'm a Christian and I'm a church leader, we fucking got to be the best one. Mm-hmm. And that means saving souls, God damn it. So we're going to save as many souls as possible. Yeah. And then it's up to you guys to get them right, because I got other things to do.
Oh, that's a good explanation.
Yeah, just that level 5 good to great leadership was it was a concept for business. Mm-hmm. Like, who primarily is in the church? What's the majority population of a church? It's the congregation. Mm-hmm. And so, like, that's why I feel like there was so much lack of like accountability, that when you take this principle, it overflowed to the congregation. Yeah. And people would come in and they were bad leaders because they're coming to visit your church. They're not coming to fucking join your be an employee.
Right.
And so people would come in. I'm sorry, I'm getting all heated. People would come in and like get regulated by people. It's like, that's not he's called pastor so and so.
Yeah.
We call him pastor here because we honor people here.
Yeah, that's not our culture to not call him pastor.
Yeah, so it's like, I mean, people, actually, even people that didn't even attend the church.
Yes.
I love this story about a friend of mine who, like, moved away for business. Shame on him. And was visiting, because he still viewed everyone there as friends, even though maybe they didn't view him as a friend. Mm-hmm. And we were going to have drinks afterward, because there was like a bar right next to the church. So we're going to get some beers after Sunday. And he said, "What's up?" I think he said, "What's up?" to one of the pastors, and just said their name. He didn't preface it with their title. Mm-hmm. And so they corrected him. They freaking corrected him and said, "It's Pastor so-and-so." And he's like, "Not to me."
It's true. It's
yes,
like,
you're not the pastor of the world.
It's like if you went to, like, I don't know, I'm thinking of Subway. I didn't even go to Subway. If you went to Subway and there was the manager there and you're ordering your sandwich and an employee was like, excuse me, it's manager so-and-so, you'd be like,
you will refer to me as sir.
Yeah, it's like, okay. It's so weird. And so I feel like, yeah, it's like they had this skewed view of that.
Yeah, so anyway, that was kind of off track, but that was like, with like level 5 good to great leadership. I mean, they want these principles to kind of let people know who we are as a church and as a congregation, like as a whole. And that just only applies to the clergy or whatever. You know, it's like that doesn't apply to the whole place.
Yeah.
It doesn't make sense to the congregation. We wasted money printing that sign out to put it on the wall because it doesn't mean jack shit to anybody.
And I mean, I feel like part of the like the concept about it was good for the people that were like on the main team, you know, but still it, like the culture values are supposed to be like who we are,
Right.
and not like what we're striving to be, because then you're just going to be like shooting yourself in the foot, you know?
What do you mean?
Like, you can't say, you know, we like to have fun, and then you actually don't like to have fun. It just like sounds nice, you know? So with this, it's like,
Right.
just because you say it, like, you should only put things up there and say things that you actually are. Like, be honest with yourself. Like, you're not there yet. That's something that you want to like strive towards, sure. But like, there's so many examples we have of like how that just wasn't who they actually were. No matter how hard, it was almost like the harder they tried to be that, the worse they were.
Well, that's pretty typical for church people, I think. Is we're gonna preach at you, shove down your throat all the right ways to do things. Whether or not we actually do that ourselves doesn't even matter. Like, and that's like something that's pretty much what happened with this, very much so, because being a level 5 leader, you don't need recognition. You know, it's said like that a lot of level 5 leaders are actually quite shy and reserved. They don't want to be on the forefront. They're not trying to be famous. They're just like leading the business well, like managing their team well, empowering their team to do things well and paying them well.
Yeah.
And so it's so it's a good point that having that on the wall was not who we are. It was very hypocritical, because the number one people in the whole church were like so not level 5.
Yeah.
In every way. Like, they absolutely needed all the accolades, like all the attention. They wouldn't necessarily say that to anyone except their close people when they really offended them and didn't
Well, show the example.
Well, there's not the example. There's many examples.
Yeah, I meant just...
of days where we would go to church, we would have these Sunday night meetings and talk about everything that went well, specifically. So for somebody like me that likes to talk about what didn't go well so that we can fix the shit,
That's what we
it was
talked about
really
on
hard
Monday.
for me to sit there. Because if nothing went well and if the message sucked, I had nothing to say.
Yeah.
And so that was often. And there were times where we would, end up in a group message with the pastor saying either we weren't encouraging enough or saying enough about how well she or he did. And how could you do that? How could you you guys, all you did was talk about each other and how good you did. What about my message?
Yeah.
And it's like, are you kidding me? Wow, you're like a level 5 leader there.
Yeah.
Like, let's just take that off the fucking wall. If we're not that, that's fine. If you want credit for everything, that's fine.
You just say that.
But let's not say you're a level 5 leader or that we even value that, because we don't. And if someone were to say, Pastor, I don't appreciate your attitude because
Your message
we value level 5 good to great leadership, and you're upset at us for not giving you recognition, you should be fine with that as a level 5 leader. You would be annihilated for saying something like that.
Oh, yeah.
I don't think you belong at this church, PJ.
Where's the honor?
Yeah. Maybe this is why God doesn't promote you.
Maybe it's why you don't have a wife and a child yet.
You should talk about the money thing, since we were talking about like Like,
Well-
you know, like I feel like, I don't know if it mentioned it in this book or if it's blurring together with a different thing I read, but I feel like a level 5, you know, a company with a level 5 leader would pay their people well because they want the best people. And that's not
Yeah.
like,
So what had happened was, right after, there was like a mass exodus of people. I mean, there were several, but this particular one was the first one that I had been there for. And the person who was like in charge of all the media stuff, he left, and so then that left me in charge of everything he was in charge of, on top of everything else that I was already in charge of. And I had a part-time job at the time. And so I was feeling very overwhelmed and stressed out because I felt like I couldn't do everything I needed to do for the church and work. And so I remember,
not to mention you were voluntold to be in this position. You didn't
Right.
ask to be in this position.
that's
And even
true.
if they did, you would probably feel obligated because who else was going to do it?
Right. Yes. So that's exactly what happened. And so we had a meeting, and you were there, and there was like, 6 or 8 of us or something. And I was, you know, crying and stuff because I was feeling overwhelmed and stressed, but I didn't want to quit my job because we needed that extra paycheck, not to survive, but so that I could get
So
my
that
nails
you don't
done.
have to just survive.
Right, exactly. So we could not just get by. And so then the pastor was like, okay, well, how much, do you make there? And then I told him, and then he was like, look, that's it? Like, we could pay you that. And I was like, really? Like, my dream come true. And it really wasn't even that much, honestly.
It was such ass kissing. Like I remember the discussion. I remember. I mean, think about the position they're in now. After, a large group of heavy hitters in the church left.
Mm-hmm.
Heavy hitters, heavy tithe payers. They're gone. These people are freaking out, and you're having this meeting. And it's possible that you won't be able to serve as much as they want you to.
Mm-hmm.
So the head pastor goes into this thing, and it was just so fake. He was like, "That's it? She's worth that much. You're worth twice that. We can do that."
Mm-hmm.
And then what happened?
Okay, so if I was being really smart and not just thinking with my emotions, I would have realized that it still probably wasn't a great idea for me to make that transition at that time. So here's what happened.
I wouldn't say you weren't smart, because you, at that point in your experience there, hadn't had a very close relationship with these people. Mm-hmm. And you didn't know how shitty they were with finances and things like that. So why wouldn't you expect that they're going to replace your income because you're so valuable?
Because if you looked at the people that were left at the church who were tithing, I'm just saying, looking
There's
back
just no
now.
way we could have known that.
Okay, so anyway, so I was super excited. I took the job. I signed a W-2 or whatever it is, and I got 1, maybe 2 paychecks. And then, I think this was also strategic.
1 or 2 paychecks.
So then, I was in a lot of meetings, or I was over at the pastor's house making them breakfast Monday morning, and they were arguing about finances and stuff. And so, I kept hearing how much of a struggle it was to pay the rent. And there's this other lady who was on staff who they were, trying to pay too, and she really, really needed it a lot more than I did. Because they wouldn't have been able to even make ends meet if she wasn't getting paid. And so...
Wait, who? Really?
Mm-hmm. Well, that's the impression that I was getting. I don't know if that's true or not, but that's the impression that I was getting. And so...
They seem like they're doing pretty good.
Well, I don't know. I'm just saying this is what... They were trying to put off rent for a couple of months to pay her, and then my check even was still pretty late, And so I was feeling really bad, you know. So then I talked to my ex, and he wasn't really even on board with me getting paid in the first place anyway. So
It's so greedy.
Yeah.
Pay me for my work?
So
You should feel like garbage.
So we were like, okay, maybe we'll say like, for right now, you can stop paying me until the church kind of gets out of this rut, and then you can start paying me again, you know?
Back pay?
No, of course not. So then like a year or so went by, and
What
then
company does that?
a year or so
Hey guys, we're struggling right now. I'm sorry.
babe, just let me finish the story.
I'm sorry.
So then a year
Jeez.
or so went by, and then they hired a worship pastor, and they were paying him, and they still weren't paying me. And then I could have brought it up, sure, but I didn't know how to bring it up, and I feel like they just got used to me like being unpaid, you know, unpaid staff, they would say. So even though I had still sent a W-2, so it's technically full-time staff, like actual real staff that just wasn't getting paid.
Yeah.
So, yeah, so that was something that obviously, like, I felt like was wrong, really bothered me, and is definitely not what a level 5 leader would do. Like, I feel like the pastors should have sold their house because it was fully paid off, buy a small place, could have been a 1-bedroom. There was 2 of them. You know, his kids were moved out. Like, they literally could have had a 1-bedroom, like, house or condo or something that they could have fully paid off, and then had still a bunch of money left to pay people and to pay the rent on the church for maybe a year or 2. Like, that could have been totally possible.
Yeah, but they can barely live together, much less sleep together, so that's
I know.
not going to work.
Right. So, anyway, that was an example of how just not level 5 leadery it was.
Yeah.
I have another example if you.
Yeah, go.
So,
I'm sorry for cutting you off, by the way.
thank you. So another thing that they talk about in the book is that as the leader, you want to have people around you who know better than you. So you want to have somebody who knows finances really well, who knows marketing really well, who knows like design really well, or whatever your company is about, you know? And you know that you're not like the best, most knowledgeable person in every single one of those areas. So you pull in people on your team that are really good at those things, and you trust them to do their job correctly. And you're trying to empower them. Even if they make a decision that you wouldn't make necessarily, you let them do it and see how it goes. And if it doesn't turn out well, then you guys can have a conversation about it. And so one of the main things that I feel like this applied to was when we would do encounters or freedom weekends. And they would have different people on the leadership team teach sessions. So there was 8 sessions total, and the senior pastor, or the executive senior pastor, had like taught all of them before, and so she would like coach people on how to do it, because her goal was to not have to be at every single one. So we had 4 a year at one point, and so she wanted like there to be separate encounter teams.
Can I say one thing?
Oh yeah, go ahead.
This is such a perfect example of how she always wanted to have her cake and eat it too. She didn't want, saying she didn't want to be at everyone is not true. She did want to be at everyone. She couldn't not be at one.
Right.
She's way too controlling.
Mm-hmm.
But because it looks really good to be able to train other people to like do it also, like she has to also create a team of elite teachers, but then still go.
Right.
Because she could have not come.
She could have not come to like the last several that we did when like all of our friends were teaching, and I made these like really cool packets and all this stuff. Like there was no reason that she needed to be there at all. Like we would have done perfectly fine.
And the fact is like I was at those encounter things years before you even got there, and after, like the ones that you saw, they were much, much better, even though they still sucked.
Yeah.
Than they had been in the past. And the times that she took over, like you're about to say, to like do it the right way, it was so distracting and annoying. It made it suck.
Right. Yes, exactly. So
the team was doing better.
Yes, the team was doing better, and that's what's frustrating is because a level 5 leader is supposed to have trust in the team, and she had no actual trust in the team. Because during people's sessions, she was in the back, you know, like in the back of everyone, like taking notes, looking at you like this. And then it's like, okay, am I doing good? Am I not doing good? Like, I'm going to try to ignore you. Yes, exactly. Exactly. That's exactly how she would do it. And so if somebody was like talking and she felt like the atmosphere was off, she would literally go up there and like take the mic and be like, no, okay. What he or she means is this. Okay, this is a teachable moment, okay? We're all friends here, right? We're all like learning and growing together. This is a teachable moment. I'm just gonna take this over and show you how we're supposed to do it. Can we just be real? Yes. And it's like...
that's not just something that she does. All pastors do that shit and I fucking hate it. Can we just be real?
So she would just take over. And the thing is, the people who were there, especially for like the first time, had no idea that anything was even wrong. They were enjoying themselves and enjoying the speaker. And when she went up there, they were like, oh, did I miss something? Like, and she actually completely ruined the atmosphere. And the thing is, like, she was trying or wanted, because it sounded good, to empower people. But what she was really doing is embarrassing people. And empowerment doesn't come from embarrassment. Like, it just doesn't. And so, like, when she does that to you, are you going to be like, oh, I want to try this again?
Is anybody going to want to be like that?
It's like, no.
Hey, Bobby, we want you to do an encounter message this year. I saw what you did to Lindsay last time. No thanks.
That's true. That's right. Yeah, it's like, I don't want that to happen to me, so okay, I guess I don't want to be on the leadership team because that sounds really sucky.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, it was. It's exactly how it looked, which I guess to their credit, that was, yes, being real.
I have one about the Christmas service.
Okay.
Yeah, so we did this Christmas service. Well, we always do Christmas services. But one year, it was looking to be really good. We had like a bunch of people wanted to be on the choir. We had somebody make these like custom risers. And we were rehearsing freaking like every day.
Yeah.
I just feel like it was like every day. I would get off work and I'd go to rehearsal.
Yeah.
Like at least like the last week leading up to it or something.
And so with like 40 other people. There's a lot of people.
There was so many hands on deck, which like a level 5 leader would have, you know, everyone else be doing their work and leading the teams, right?
Yeah. Because
we trust you. Like we selected you for this position, so we're gonna trust you to do it.
Wow, you got all these people here. This is like 3 times the amount of people last Christmas. Good job, guys. I'm gonna let you do it. You're obviously doing a good job.
And something happened. This was like 5 years ago, I think. So like I don't even remember exactly how she was set off. Mm-hmm.
I was just there. It was my first Christmas there.
Yeah, okay. So she goes up and I think it was like maybe somebody didn't have the right energy or something. And so she wanted to go up and show the choir how to look. So she goes up there and she stands on the riser and she's like, is this strong? Fucking slams her high heel.
Like stiletto heels.
I mean, it's like this skinny through the riser and says, nope, we need new ones. This isn't strong enough. Somebody could fall and get hurt. Mm-hmm. And it was just the whole room was like, yes, ma'am.
Talk about ruining the atmosphere. Like, geez.
I mean, yeah. And anybody who's built anything knows why that was stupid. A stupid way to test the integrity of a riser. Like, you know, you're putting a half-inch object, fucking like, you know, blunt, stiff object. I mean, you know.
It's going to go through plywood. If you make it go through plywood, it's just going
People standing up there in their shoes are not going to fall through this thing like you were able to slam your high heel through it.
Yeah.
after like 5 attempts.
Yeah, she really tried.
Anyway, I'm triggered.
Yes.
But that, it's like, so she took being a level 1 leader to like an even lower level. It was like, I'm in charge of you and I'm going to treat you like shit and tell you why you suck.
Mm-hmm.
And then break your things.
Yeah.
It's like,
wow, I want to be a leader here.
You know this is church and these people volunteer?
Yeah.
God, hire a fucking contractor and pay the man.
Right.
If you want professional fucking risers, which I'm pretty sure these were. I'm pretty sure whoever was like making those, it was particle board. It wasn't particle board. It was, I forget what it's called. But the next like step down from like full on plywood, and they were all framed out with 2x4s.
Yeah.
It's like, I mean, like, here's a wall. I can still shoot a fucking hole through it with a gun. That doesn't mean it's a weak wall.
That's so true. So that reminds me, there was an article on Jim Collins' website that was called "The Misguided Mix-Up of Celebrity and Leadership." And I saw that and I was like, ooh, that's going to be good. And so there's this one quote from the article that reminded me of what you're talking about. And it says, "There is perhaps no more corrosive trend to the health of our organizations than the rise of the celebrity CEO, the rock star leader whose deepest ambition is first and foremost self-centric." So I feel like with that, like even what we were talking about earlier about how like the executive senior pastor was like, you know, foremost for the cause of like saving people or whatever. But even that was like selfish because she was doing that because she wanted to get like a better spot in heaven. And like when she cries about people, it's like, I mean, I feel like you can tell when somebody's like trying to be emotional and they're actually being
like
emotional. Yeah. And so I would love for that guy to do a little, what is it called? Like this guy on YouTube does like reading, like he'll analyze people's body language.
I'm trying to think of it. Sorry, you're talking while I'm thinking.
Oh, sorry.
You're like, what was that? Blah, 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 blah.
My bad. I was trying to think of it.
Just reading body language, I think.
Yeah.
Reading like body language cues or something. I don't know. Stuff means stuff.
Right.
People do that for a job.
Yes. And I feel like it's really obvious. It's like, okay, you're just trying to do that to make me feel bad or make me bring out some emotion, but you're obviously doing it in a fake way, so it's not making me feel anything.
Yeah, like this was actually kind of a hard cultural value to think of examples of because it was just so non-existent in our actual behavior. Any of us.
Yeah.
Well, no, I take that back. Not any of us, because level 5 leadership, according to Jim Collins, is like kind of an innate trait. It's not something you really, it's not something, oh, I really suck at leading, so I'm going to change how egotistical I am. I mean, I guess you could, but I feel like it's something that you're born with or without.
He does say that, yeah.
You either can lead teams and do it without wanting to be famous for it, or you don't. And that's why a lot of the people who actually are like really great level 5 leaders are typically shy, reserved people. They naturally don't want that. They don't actually want it. They don't have to try to not want to be famous. They just don't want to be famous.
Right.
And they're talented at whatever they do. So they are able to lead well in whatever that is. But anyway, it was like, so we did have level 5 leaders. It's hard to remember them for a reason because they didn't fucking need to be like on the forefront, put me on a pedestal and worship me. But I just feel like it's so hard to think of like examples for that because it needed so much explanation. We value, like when you walk into a business and it says, we value people, we value like having fun, we value being weird. You don't say we value this book, the concept in this book,
All right.
and you won't have a clue what it is until you go read that book.
Yeah.
It just doesn't make sense. So I'm actually surprised we came up with as much that we did, and we might be kind of grasping for things with some
I
of
don't
it.
think so. I feel like our examples were really good.
Yeah, they're not bad, I guess. Level 5s give credit away instead of taking it. Yeah, that's another, that was like a huge thing, giving credit away.
Mm-hmm.
They the leaders in that place, they demanded credit.
Yeah.
And if you gave credit to other people and not them, it was like you slapped their grandma. I mean, they were just extremely hurt and
It's
extremely
true.
angry.
It's true.
Okay, yeah, fine. Okay, you all did great today. What about me? You've been talking about each other all night.
I know. And it's like, yes, I feel like that's such a great point, because also there was people that would come to those Sunday night meetings, or the dream team parties or whatever, and that was the only touching point with them and the pastors for maybe a month or a couple of weeks. And so I would want to lift up these people to the pastors to let everyone know what this person is doing really well. And so, yeah, I'm not going to talk about the pastors there. Everyone already thinks that they're doing great, probably. So it's no one else needs to the whole team doesn't really need to focus on that and know that. I want, this person literally gets one connection point with you a month. So I'm going to tell everyone what they did great, and it makes them feel really good to tell them in front of the pastors, It does. There's something about it makes them feel really good. And so then to turn that on their core leadership team, when I could tell you everything that you're doing great 6 days a week, but then that one day if I don't tell you again in front of everyone, then it's a really big deal.
It's like a company meeting, imagine a huge company and the CEO's there, and all the higher ups are there, and your team leader or whoever picks up the mic and starts talking about how good you do it at that place.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, of course you'd want to do that.
Yeah.
And what was your point exactly with that?
Is that they have a hard time giving credit away or even listening to how good other people are doing if also in that same breath you don't talk about them doing well. And so I feel like that goes against being a level 5 leader.
Yeah.
Because you would want the people in your company to be doing great things, and if you're hearing about it, you should genuinely be wow, that is so awesome. And then just leave it at that, not needing to hear, but also I'm awesome.
I wonder if that book says anything about when things don't go well, how they handle the credit for that. Do they take credit for the things that don't go well, or are they still as much invisible?
No, it's the buck stops with them. So it's they take credit if it goes to shit, and if it goes well, then they give credit to the team.
That's so funny.
And I would imagine that would be very, very hard to do. I get it. I don't think I could do that.
Well, that's really interesting because of what is happening with them right now. The head pastors of the church. I did appreciate that she made a couple Facebook Lives, even though it was questionable about, I'm forever questioning their actual motive. Mm-hmm. But, that she at least took responsibility publicly.
Yes.
Homeboy hasn't done a damn thing to take credit for. He actually has done something. He blamed other people for why the church didn't work out. Well, I just hired young people. I'll never do that again in my future endeavors. You ain't got no future endeavors, bud.
Yeah.
You're fucking washed up.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. I did appreciate her taking the credit for some of that. That was good to see.
Should we talk about the reunion?
Okay.
Can we show that? Can we put that up and show?
Yeah, definitely. I've got the screenshot just in case he decides to go on a deleting spree, because you never know.
So apparently, the ex-pastor homeboy of piece of shit church is wanting to do a reunion.
Let me pull.
With
up
who?
Let me pull up a picture.
All the people that ditched you for a reason?
Oh, let me pull it up.
We're not trying to like hate on people. I mean, somebody could probably make a podcast about all the dumb shit we've done too. But
Oh yeah.
I think anyone who was like devastated by that church, or was there for a month. Anyone who was there for several weeks, it's like you may have had an encounter with these people that traumatized you, that made you question your righteousness, your salvation, your spirituality, like all that stuff. It's like they are just so haphazard with the way they employ the gospel. It's just not right. It's not fucking right, and that's why we want to talk about it. It's like we talk about this shit whether or not we were doing a podcast. It's like we were already doing that for like a year.
Which is why
After
I
we
decided
left,
to do this.
it's like, why don't we start filming this? This stuff's kind of funny and interesting.
Yeah.
And so, you know what? If you people are watching, honestly, like, I kind of still, like, care about a lot of those people.
Yeah.
Some people not so much. Some people I really do still care about, even though they haven't done a damn thing to make amends or reach out or figure out what the fuck happened. Like, some people in particular that we talk about fairly regularly, so I don't know, I just want to put that out there. I'm not trying to like make this super negative. It's just what we experienced, and it's what a lot of people experienced, and so I don't know, I feel like yeah, if somebody's walking around and posing as some kind of like support system for people for their own gain, for like their own renown, and they've actually been like like a predator in that same like category, it's like no, you need to be shut down. Like, you need to be more than shut down. Like, yeah, I'll end right there, but
yeah,
this is the least we can do.
Yeah. Yeah, and I feel
Talk
like
about your dumbass anonymously. You're welcome.
Yeah. I feel like if you're at a place that says we value this, we value that, like, I feel like 2020 more than ever, people are learning how to think for themselves and like actually don't just take them for their word. Like, evaluate their behavior and see if they actually value those things or if they're just saying that to, I don't know, get clout or something.
It's interesting that we've had some feedback from people talking about how they have pretty much not gotten involved with church on a deep level ever since this place. And that's pretty sad. I mean, I do feel like there is good wisdom in that, because I think what happened there just kind of opened my eyes to what a lot of churches do. And churches just seem like cults to me now.
Yeah.
Like, if I walk into a church and I'm met with a lot of super big smiles and people that are just acting like life is hunky-dory and here this is a safe space and like, we're gonna not judge you and all this stuff, I just don't fucking buy it anymore. I don't buy it. Lived through that for too long.
Yeah.
Not just at that place either. After we left, we went to a couple churches. I gave people my phone number and they've never showed.
Yep.
Hey, sorry, I got wrapped up with this, that. No, I know, because you're doing church stuff.
Yeah, I know exactly.
You didn't want to have coffee with me because you're doing church stuff. Too busy with that. I know. Like you had to like be at this meeting and that meeting, and you probably are fucking burnt the fuck out. So every second you have to spend with your family, you want to.
Yeah.
Like, I get it. that's how churches are.
Mhm.
Churches to me are not like Jesus.
Yeah.
I mean, they're like the opposite of Jesus.
Yeah.
Hey guys, let's go fishing. And we'll chat. Jesus preaching was Jesus chatting with people that decided to hang out with him. It just happened to be thousands of people. Church, we gotta get thousands in here. Come on, amen. Where did that come from? It's such fake bullshit. No thanks.
Yeah.
If I want to talk to God, I can talk to God. He's apparently everywhere, right? In my heart. Don't need to go to church.
Yes. I'm still laughing about your accent there.
Oh.
It was really good.
Just, I guess it's so funny, like going through these like cultural values to think about the values and to have been an insider at this place. It's like almost nothing they actually valued with their actions and behavior resembled any of these very positive things.
I know.
Like, just no. We value level 5 good to great leadership. Are you kidding me? Are you fucking serious? Anybody who was there, especially in the last like 4 years, like, you know that leaders were not okay with being like behind the scenes, like, you know, I'm gonna like be humbled and not have an ego and whatever. Like, and the same thing goes for, we have fun and we're authentic and we give up the things we love for the things we love even more. There's pretty much only one thing you could love even more than any other thing that you loved. And that was the church.
Yeah.
We give up all of our things because we love this place more.
Yep.
Anyway, that's another cultural value.
We'll get to that.
So, please like and subscribe and comment. Yes, the comments are so fun because
they're so fun.
I feel like when people comment on things, you know, maybe you don't think that it really needs to be said, but it's actually quite eye-opening and validating to see that other people were actually like in the same boat as us, and we weren't the only ones that felt like ostracized or like we had to be fake, or that some shit that came out of their face was like hurtful. It's like, oh damn, like, okay, so cool, we're not the only ones, you know.
Yeah.
So really appreciate the feedback. And liking and subscribing is super simple to do. And you know, like I said, we don't make money doing this, but potentially we could if enough people did that. So please subscribe. Please like this video and our other videos. And that is all.
And that's it.